Hey, Dusty.
Hey, what's
Okay?
up, Steve?
All right, let's get started with Dusty. Just a reminder to everybody on the Zoom, this video will be posted on the press box. It will be a high quality video as opposed to these Zoom images. And if you have a question for Dusty, please click the raise your hand button and I'll call on you as we go. We will start with our Astros member, Dusty Baker. Let's start with Christy.
Hey, Dusty. I wondered if you could just talk about the value of having Lance back this postseason or this for the World Series after you didn't have him for last year's series.
Yeah, I mean that was big. I mean Lance would have probably been our ace last year going into the playoffs and World Series, and so that was a very devastating day, a down day when he came in and said, "Hey, man, I think something's wrong, and I don't think I can pitch." And we still had good pitching, but Lance has been our big game guy. So yeah, I'm just glad to have him back and have him for the series.
And as a quick follow-up, I know a lot of your guys really love the city and love Houston, but I was wondering, it seems like he just loves Houston more than maybe anyone. Have you heard him talk about how much he loves the city, or have you seen him do anything related to that?
He's been pretty fortunate where in his baseball life he grew up here. And, a lot of guys, grew up here in Houston in their baseball life. You got Altuve and you got a few other guys, but a lot of guys have come from other places and fallen in love with Houston. That was similar to me when I was a rookie in Atlanta, when you come in and out. And but he's been fortunate enough to stay with his original team and see the city grow, gone through the ups and downs and losses, and to the mountaintop with the organization and the team. Said hello and goodbye to a number of former and present teammates. So yeah, this is home.
Chandler Rome.
Hey, Dusty. What have you seen in the year and a half you've had with Rafael Montero? I know he wasn't healthy for all of last year, but how have you seen him grow into a guy that you trust implicitly to back into that bullpen?
Well, I liked him when he was a closer in Texas early in his career. He had dynamite stuff, and then I liked him in Seattle, but we got him. I wasn't sure if he's going to be able to pitch this year or not, because at the end of last year, it appeared that, we were leaning towards maybe even surgery. But he guaranteed us that he was ready at that time. We didn't want to take a chance. And then he went home and worked this winter. And so, I mean, he's been, early in the year, this guy was, who we were leaning on a lot. I think he had like 17 holds or something before that Chicago series and 10 or 11 saves. He had almost as many saves as Presley did at one time. So, yeah, he throws strikes. He's still learning. Added a couple other pitches, and so very calm in his demeanor. You can't tell, never gets shaken. So, but we still have to protect him and guard him and keep him strong and healthy.
Mark Berman.
Hey, Dusty, what makes Lance special when he's on?
I don't know, probably just his competitiveness and, the movement on his ball. I remember in Atlanta, McCann was in there. He came down to the hotel to see Lance and some of the other guys, Presley and some of the guys that he had played with here, JV. And McCann was talking about the first time that he had faced Lance from the other side and how much movement he had on his ball and life and just different things. And so that really impressed me. And I think he said he hit a home run off of him later, but he didn't know how he did it. And, Lance is this guy is a competitor, and he's confident, but he's a great guy to have on the team.
We'll go to Brian.
Hi, Dusty. Could
Hey.
you go into your thought process on McCullers over Javier for Game 3? What led you to that?
Well, it wasn't just me. I'm just the one that talks about it. You know, I mean, why not McCullers? I mean, he has, I mean, who has more experience on this team than him and JV? And so, you know, going into that, missed a very big game, and figure he can keep the ball in the ballpark pretty good with his sinker, and his slider holds runners on pretty good, which they generally try to run a lot. So it's just a matter of, plus I think he deserved it. You know what I mean? I mean, if anything, I was wrestling between him pitching number 2 and number 3, not 3 and 4, and just a matter of. But I thought that, you know, we can go right, left, right, and then their platoon guys can't play 2 days in a row, which wouldn't make them, you know, which might affect their sharpness. It might not, but, you know, I just try to play as much of the odds as I can.
Chrissy.
Hey, Dusty, what have you seen from Syndergaard this season, and what are the challenges he presents to your team?
Well, we haven't seen him since he was with the Angels, and so you know, that's a long time ago. You know, the challenges are that it seems like he's gotten his command together. You know, he has a very good slider, changeup. You know, he's pitching more now than he was before when he was just a power pitcher when he's with the Mets, when he was like overpowering people. I'm sure it's still in there somewhere, but now, you know, he's more of a complete pitcher than he was before.
Chandler.
Dusty, will Javier start Game 4?
Probably.
Okay, anything else for Dusty Baker? All right, Dusty.
All right.
For your time.
Check
Appreciate
it. All right.
Thanks, Dusty.
All righty.
Started with Astros pitching coach Josh Miller. If you have a question for Josh, please click the raise your hand button, and I'll call on you. Josh, you hear me okay?
Yep.
All right. Okay, we will start with Chandler Rome.
Hey, Josh. Can you go into, you know, Dusty just said you guys weren't even sure coming into the year if Rafael Montero was going to be able to contribute for you guys, just given some of his health issues. What was he going through, and just what kind of has led to his ascension this year?
You know, we acquired him last year from Seattle because we had a real good idea of the quality of stuff he had and the command that he had to go along with it. He made a handful of outings with us and then, you know, succumbed to a lat injury and didn't pitch for us for the rest of the year. And, you know, this offseason was kind of, you know, a question mark of what he would come in spring training. You know, we had expectations, but we didn't really know, you know, what he'd come in as. And he came into spring. He was pretty good. And as the season gone on, just grew into a very valuable, trusted member of the bullpen and has been excellent in the 8th inning or 9th inning when Presley's been down or injured this year. And, you know, really, like I said, trustable asset in the bullpen.
Is it solely the changeup that makes him so lethal against lefties, or kind of what makes him so good to both sides hitter wise?
I mean, he throws really hard. He's got a, you know, mid to upper 90s four-seam fastball, a hard changeup that's kind of got down diving action, and he commands both those pitches really, really well. You know, he has a slider too that plays versus lefties. He just doesn't use it that often. So it's a 3-pitch mix, and the command with the elite stuff allows it to play up tremendously.
Chrissy?
I wondered what you've seen from Lance since he's come back. Obviously, he hasn't pitched all that much this season, but he's obviously had good results. Could you just kind of talk about how you've seen him and the limited action he's had this year?
Sure. You know, similar to Rafi, you know, we didn't really know what to expect. He ended the season last year after the division series with an elbow injury, has been rehabbing for the first probably 60, 70% of the season, came back, made a handful of starts, and has, you know, increased volume and pitch quality as he's gone. And, you know, he's a big game pitcher, wants the ball. We want him out there and excited to see him go tomorrow. You know, he's got elite curveball slider combination with a sinker and a changeup to boot, and he'll be ready to rise to the occasion tomorrow.
Mark Berman.
Hey, Josh, Dusty talked about Lance being a big game pitcher. What makes him a big game pitcher?
Well, he's been there. He's done that. He's experienced it. He had the ball in Game 7 against the Dodgers in 17. He was our ace going into the postseason last year. He's been there. He's done that. He's experienced the emotions that come along with pitching in big games, and he can handle that emotion and do well.
Brian.
Hey, Dusty said that Javier will probably go in Game 4. What do you think the advantage is of finally having a guy that the Phillies haven't seen yet?
Javi's so unique in his own way that it's definitely an advantage. Their hitters have not seen his stuff come from the unique delivery and the high quality pitch combination that he has. So it should be in Javi's advantage when he does take the mound, and I'd expect him to do very well also.
Thank you.
Back to Chandler.
Josh, with Abreu in Game 1 and then Montero last night, you guys have really asked those two guys to do a lot. Is that just a product of how they match up with that pocket in the Phillies order? And how do you think both of those guys responded to such big workloads?
Yeah, they've both gone 1+, or in Abreu's case, even 2+ outings during the season. So it wasn't outside the normal ask for them to go 30 pitches or so in an outing. Just felt like at the point in the game that they were pitching in Game 1 for Abreu and last night for Monty, felt best about them, carrying a little bit larger workload, and it factored into the matchup where we were at in the lineup and the status of the game.
And then one more. For you personally, being a former Phillies draft pick, what's it going to be like to coach a game at Citizens Bank Park and in Philly?
It'll be cool. I used to live in Philly in the off seasons when I was a minor league player. I love Philadelphia. It's a really neat town. One of the few ballparks I have not gotten to coach in is Citizens Bank Park. I've been there as a fan before, but not on the field. So it'll be a unique experience for me, and it'll be cool to be in the city of brotherly love again.
Chrissy.
Just to follow up on Abreu, he's had a great season. What do you think has been the biggest key to him taking kind of that next step this year and getting to a higher level?
Yeah, he's always had the elite stuff. We added him to the roster after the tremendous minor league season he had in 2018. He made his debut in 19. We actually carried him on the ALCS roster against the Yankees then. 2020 was kind of a lost season for him due to COVID and the limitations that they had training-wise. And he came in ready to go last year, and we used him in some big spots. He had an up-and-down performance, but, made a good step forward in our eyes. And then this year just, seemed to rise to the occasion and have the confidence, and the elite stuff is playing, and he really has no fear going into any situation. And limiting the walks has been a huge, huge part for him.
All right. Anything else for Josh? All right. Thank you, Josh.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Also, we do have a translator for Montero. He's right next to him, Genloy Herrera. He's out of the picture on your Zoom screen. All right, Raf, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right, we'll get started. We'll start with Chandler Rome.
Rafael, Dusty mentioned earlier today that you were close to having surgery at some point, either at the end of last season or this winter. How real of a possibility was that, and kind of how were you able to kind of rehab and get back and pitch for this team?
Dusty dijo que al final del año pasado, en la temporada muerta, hubo una posibilidad que te iba a tener que operar. ¿Qué tan cerca tuviste tú de esa posibilidad y qué tipo de ejercicio y de rehabilitación pudiste hacer para evitarla?
Nada, yo puse todo primero en manos de Dios, que creo que fue lo que me dio resultado, y yo creo que la rehabilitación fue muy buena aquí, unos ejercicios muy buenos, y nada, gracias a Dios que no hubo operación.
Yeah, first off, I think I put everything just in God's hands to just trust him to do whatever he thought was best. And yeah, I think like the process here of rehab was really good. I did some really good exercises to help me through, and thankfully we're here.
Christy?
Rafael, how much do you take pride in being part of a bullpen that has been probably the most dominant in the playoffs so far?
¿Qué tanto orgullo tomas de ser parte del bullpen que ha sido el más dominante de los playoffs?
Bueno, darle la gracia a Dios por darme la oportunidad de ser, de estar en uno de los mejores bullpen de Grandes Ligas y a mi trabajo que hice en la temporada muerta en Dominicana.
Yeah, like I said, I always just thanking God for giving me the opportunity to be a part of this great bullpen. And again, I think a lot of it I put in a lot of work in the offseason in the Dominican Republic. So these are part of the results.
Mark Berman?
Rafael, what does it mean to you, the confidence that the Astros have showed in you this season?
¿Qué significa para ti la confianza que los Astros han enseñado para ti durante esta temporada?
Eso significa algo muy importante y gracias papá Dios y al buen trabajo que Dios me ha permitido realizar durante la temporada.
Yeah, it definitely means a lot for me. And, you know, again, like I always do, thanking God for allowing me to be in this position and for allowing me to do a good job like I did during the season.
Taylor?
You're throwing harder this year than at any point in your career. Is that just a product of being fully healthy, or did the Astros kind of maybe tweak your mechanics, or how have you been able to do that?
Tú has estado tirando más duro este año que lo que has tirado en cualquier punto de tu carrera. ¿Tú crees que eso es resultado de estar saludable o es algo que los Astros han hecho para tratar de ayudarte a conseguir esa velocidad?
No, yo creo que fue después que me hicieron tomillón. Yo vengo ya tirando 97, 98 millas, hasta 99, he topado algunas veces. Y el buen trabajo que hice en Dominicana también, que trabajé fuerte.
Yeah, I think that came mostly after I got Tommy John surgery. After that point, I've been hitting 96, 97. I've gotten up all the way to 99. And again, I think I worked really well in the offseason in the Dominican Republic. So I think that's also part of it.
Okay, anything else for Rafael? All right, thanks, Raf. Appreciate the time.
All right, thank you.
Gracias. All right, everyone, that's going to be it for Astros availability today. We appreciate the time, and we'll see you guys from tomorrow.